I was the heir to the Windsor dynasty of New York, and she was Anna Lou, the daughter of the once prominent Lou family. We had been married for less than a year when her family's empire crumbled into bankruptcy. After the divorce, a strange awakening, a glimpse into a horrifying future, sent me scrambling back to her, desperate to remarry. She just frowned, her voice cold and resolute. "I'm sorry, Mr. Windsor. The Lou family has fallen. I'm no longer worthy of a man of your stature." Standing beside her was Ethan, her childhood friend, his smile a blinding sting. I gripped her wrist, my jaw tightening. "Is that so? Planning on finding a new father for our child?" Her pupils contracted, a storm raging in her eyes. How did you know?" "Quel accident. I woke up on a hospital bed, a chilling cold seeping into my bones. Suddenly, unfamiliar images flashed through my mind. In them, I had weighed my options, remarried for convenience. Less than 6 months later, my parents died in a freak accident. I inherited everything, only for my new wife and her lover to lock me in a basement, faking my disappearance to seize my fortune. The darkness was absolute. I starved, too weak to even chase the rats and roaches. The stench of decay, the slick filth, the suffocating despair. I died of thirst in less than 10 days. Then, through the pouring rain of a bleak vision, someone burst into that basement. It was Anna. Her eyes, red-rimmed and hollow, found my body. The face that always held a playful smile was now a mask of desolate emptiness. In that moment, my heart felt like it was being crushed by an invisible hand. Just then, the hospital room door opened. "Mr. Windsor, Miss Shun is here to see you." "Should I let her in?" My assistant's voice sounded distant. "No, arrange for my discharge." "Now," I said, my voice cold and unyielding as I sat up. He followed me, looking troubled. "Sir, Miss Shun was chosen by your mother as a potential match. Are you canceling the arrangement?" "Cancel it." I cut him off, not breaking my stride, ignoring the throbbing pain in my temple. "The Shuns? I wouldn't dare. My wife can only be in a Lou. The priority is to get her back." I drove straight to the walk-up apartment she had moved into. My car, a stark contrast to the old, dilapidated building, reflected my pale face in the window, the gauze on my forehead a ghostly white. It was as if my reflection merged with the image of her, pale and lost, cradling my body in that dark basement. A shiver ran down my spine. I tore off the bandage. Just then I heard laughter. I leaned back, letting the car's shadow hide me. In my peripheral vision, I saw Anna walking with another man. He was carrying groceries, and in his arms, a bouquet of sunflowers. He was smiling, his eyes fixed on her as he spoke. "Don't worry, my people are watching him. He won't cause any trouble. How are you and your mother settling in? I can come by any time if you need anything. I picked up some serious cooking skills abroad. You have to let me show them off tonight." His voice was warm, full of concern, and she, who was always so reserved with strangers, was smiling at him with such natural ease. A sharp pang hit my chest. The ink on our divorce papers was barely dry. But then I stopped myself. No, if she had moved on, why would she have come for my body in that basement? The raw, gut-wrenching grief on her face couldn't have been faked. Those suffocating images flashed again like a virus-infected pop-up, taunting me. The finality of my death in that vision felt like a lead coffin slamming shut, sealing me off from the world. The cold rain, the tightening noose around my ribs. My knuckles turned white as I clenched my fists. A prophecy? Fine, I'll rewrite it. No one controls my life. Watching her disappear into the building, I pushed the car door open and chased after her. Just as I was about to call out, the door clicked shut. I stopped, staring at the closed door, my eyes dark. Suddenly, it opened again. A delicate, fair hand rested on the frame. My gaze froze. It was Anna. The hallway light outlined her slender figure. Her eyes met mine, filled with the detached annoyance of being disturbed and a hint of caution. "What are you doing here?" Her voice was still soft, but coated in a thin layer of ice. She was always gentle, poised and proper in public. In the year we were married, she was the epitome of warmth and tenderness, her gaze a place you could drown in. She was always sweet and playful with me, like a kitten that loved to cuddle and purr. This cold tone was a first. My brow furrowed. I felt something slipping away from me, something I couldn't grasp. I came for you. My voice was hoarse, surprising even myself. For me? Why? To remarry you. The words felt heavy in my throat, a strange panic rising within me. I had no confidence with her now. The hallway was dim, and the flicker of surprise in her eyes was so fast it could have been my imagination. She didn't speak. The air grew thick, heavy with the stuffy heat of the corridor and my own deliberately slow breaths. She bit her lip, glanced at the half-open door upstairs, then closed it and started walking down the stairs in her white bunny slippers. Her movements were slow, deliberate, yet they carried the silent pressure of an approaching storm. I watched her, my jaw clenched, the horrific images of my death still searing my nerves. She stopped in front of me, her eyes meeting mine again, now filled with a sense of unfamiliarity. "I'm sorry, Mr. Windsor." Her tone was flat, each word clear. She paused, her lovely face etched with a carefully constructed indifference. "The Liu family is finished. This useless, fake heiress, won't drag you down. Won't drag him down." She told me to remember those words. They felt like a red-hot iron sear in my heart. A sharp, humiliating pain shot through my chest. My jaw locked. After her family filed for bankruptcy, when she was at her most vulnerable, I had weighed the pros and cons and agreed to the divorce she initiated. I didn't even try to stop her. And now, not even a week after we signed the papers, I was here asking to remarry her as if it were my right. It was absurd, insulting even. It would make anyone think I was toying with her. "I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. It's because..." I suppressed the turmoil inside me, my voice low, but the words wouldn't come. What could I say? That I'd seen the future? That after divorcing her, my second wife would have me killed? That the image of her, red-eyed and grieving over my body, terrified me in a way I couldn't explain? As innocent as she was, she would either think I was playing a cruel game or that I'd lost my mind. Because of what? Her brow furrowed slightly, a tired, mocking smile playing on her lips. "You can't even come up with an excuse to humor me, can you?" Her voice cracked, and I thought I saw a glint of moisture in her eyes before she quickly hid it behind tightly pressed lips. "You were born with a silver spoon, the heir to the Windsor fortune. The Lius were just lucky upstarts who managed to squeeze into your world. We were never on the same path. Go home. The great Noah Windsor doesn't belong in a place like this." She gave a polite nod and turned to leave. As she turned, I instinctively reached out and grabbed her wrist. Her skin was cool and smooth beneath my palm, and I could feel a faint tremor. "No." My voice was a low rasp, laced with a tension I hadn't realized was there. "You're wrong. I need you. This has nothing to do with the Windsors or the Lius. The divorce. I didn't think it through." My thumb unconsciously stroked the delicate skin of her wrist, as if trying to draw some warmth from it. "Give me a chance to make it right, please." She kept her eyes downcast, her long, thick lashes trembling, casting a shadow that hid her expression. After a moment, she began to struggle, slowly pulling her wrist from my grasp. The panic I felt surged to a peak. She looked back at me, her eyes shattered and resolute. "On what grounds?" Her lips parted, her voice as soft as a sigh, yet as brittle as ice. "When I needed you, where were you?" She paused, every word sharp and clear, filled with a broken despair. "What is marriage to you, Noah? A business transaction, a cost-benefit analysis? Or do you think I, Anna Liu, have no heart, that I can be summoned and dismissed at your whim?" Silence. I opened my mouth several times, but no sound came out. She was right. On what grounds? Seeing me speechless, the last flicker of emotion in her eyes died out, leaving only a deep weariness and disgust. "You can't answer," she said, a mocking curve to her lips, tired and broken. "Then remarriage? Impossible." 3 words, sharp and final, leaving no room for negotiation. The atmosphere turned frigid. The words on the tip of my tongue were shattered by the look of revulsion in her eyes. Just then, a faint sound came from upstairs. The closed door creaked open a sliver, and voices drifted down. Ethan's cooking is amazing. Anna, what's taking her so long? I'll go check. I'll go, Annie. A warm male voice getting closer. My body went rigid, my blood turning to ice. My heart clenched painfully. I stared at the sliver of light from the doorway. In my peripheral vision, Anna didn't move, her deliberately cold gaze still fixed on my face, as if trying to read something in it. My humiliation, perhaps, or something else. I unconsciously tightened my lips, my eyes uncontrollably drifting back upstairs. The door opened wider, and a hand rested on the frame. The man's voice sounded again, tinged with a hint of condescending curiosity. Anna, are you out there? Anna finally looked away from me, turning with finality. Go home, and don't come looking for me again. With that, she walked away. With every step she took up the stairs, my heart sank further. A wave of dizziness, held back by sheer will, washed over me. I braced myself against the railing. Her footsteps paused. Her small back stiffened for a second. Then she turned, a look of resignation on her face. I pressed my hand to my temple and met her gaze, my voice sounding distant. I was in a car accident. A mild concussion. Then why are you here? Her brow knitted together, her tone suddenly laced with concern. I stood up straighter, my eyes locked on hers. I told you. I need you. Anna turned completely around. She stared at me, her eyes rippling with some unreadable emotion. Why? Why do you need me? What? My voice was dry, surprised, and maybe something else. I need you to be my Mrs. Windsor. I need you by my side. I need to... I paused. See you smile every day? The air was still for a moment. She looked at me, the depths of her eyes stirring, like a stone dropped into a still pool, sending out the faintest of ripples before they were deliberately smoothed over. I don't understand. What was it? What was stopping us from getting back together? The light from the upstairs doorway flickered. The warm male voice called out again, laced with confusion. Anna, are you coming? That voice was like a switch. The flicker of emotion in Anna's eyes froze over, leaving only ice. She twisted her lips into a smile that held an indescribable mockery. You're quite the comedian, Mr. Windsor. With your status, you could have anyone you want smiling at you every day. I'm just an ordinary person. I have nothing to give you. You have your path. I have mine. It's better this way. Without another glance, she turned and walked quickly up the stairs, her back straight and unyielding. I stood there. The door upstairs closed. The soundproofing in the old building was terrible. I could still hear the muffled sounds of conversation. The July air was hot and suffocating, making me irritable. She seemed even more determined. Why? Suddenly, those pop-up-like visions flashed again. But this time, I hadn't remarried. Instead, I saw a pregnant Anna on her way to a prenatal checkup. My would-be second wife pushed her into the street. I rushed to save her. A pool of red spread beneath us. My eyes were wide open. She was screaming, crying hysterically. My gaze fell on her prenatal file, lying nearby. The due date stabbed at my heart. It meant she was carrying our child. Right now, I stared into the empty space in front of me. You have your path. I have mine. I don't agree. Her path is with me. I'll drag her back if I have to. She won't remarry me? Maybe she doubts my sincerity. Fine. I'll prove it to her. This time, it's not about a calculated decision. She rejects me once, I'll come back twice. Twice, I'll come back 4 times. Knowing her soft heart, she'll come back eventually. I went again and again. Soon, half the neighborhood knew that Anna Lou's ex-husband was begging her to take him back. But she still refused me. Only occasionally, when I tried to help, would her worried gaze linger on me for a moment, filled with a complex scrutiny, as if I were the one who bankrupted her family, not the partner who was now on the run. I hired the best legal team in the state, posted bail, and got her father out. Her parents were as kind to me as ever, but they also tried to talk me out of it. Noah, your family and ours are different. You come from an established dynasty. We built our business from scratch. Now that we're bankrupt, starting over is nearly impossible. Anna might seem soft, but she's strong-willed. You two are no longer a match. Your parents wouldn't approve, and we can't bear to see her marry you again only to get hurt. Let her go. I was unfazed. Trust me, I have a way to make us a match. Mom, Dad, I'm not letting go. Despite my words, it was Ethan Chun who chatted easily with her family. Ethan who was at home in their kitchen. He fit in with them like a long-lost relative, while I felt more and more like an outsider. The difference was a bitter pill of powerlessness and jealousy. When no one was looking, I slipped out, planning to wait for Anna to get off work. As I closed the door, I ran right into her. She was shaking the rain from her umbrella when she looked up and saw me. I frowned, walking down a few steps. You're off early today? Yeah. Why didn't you tell me? There was no need. Her face was cold, her tone even colder. I clenched my fists, not saying a word, a sense of defeat rising from the pit of my stomach. She walked up the steps, and when she noticed I wasn't following, she stopped and looked down at me. Noah. Her voice was low, laced with an unreadable emotion. If you can't take it, just go home. I know you helped get my dad out, and I know you're the reason I have my current job. You've done too much. I can't accept it. The Lius are no longer your concern. You don't have to do this. Let's just end it here for good. Her voice grew quieter, but every word was crystal clear. I turned and looked up at her, a bitter taste in my mouth. Do you think I'm a type to give up easily? My voice was tinged with an unconcealable frustration and regret. I couldn't stand it. Compared to Ethan, I was an outsider in her family. His family had been their neighbors for over a decade. He and Anna had known each other since they were kids. They were childhood sweethearts. His family moved abroad after high school. He must have come back specifically because he heard about the Liu's bankruptcy. That kind of loyalty, showing up when they were at their lowest, was worth so much more than an ex-husband who divorced her the moment her family went under. She heard the change in my tone and stared at me, her lips slightly parted. But you? I took a few steps up until I was only a fist's width away from her. I won't give up on you, but I paused, reaching out to cup her chin, forcing her to look at me. I need some encouragement from you. Staring at her soft, moist lips, my throat tightened. Can you give me that? I asked in a low voice. Her expression shifted, her ears turning red. Can I? I leaned in closer, our noses almost touching, her fresh scent filling my senses. Suddenly, she covered her mouth and gagged, her brow furrowed in pain. My heart sank. I grabbed her wrist, refusing to let go. Do you hate me that much? The thought of being close to me makes you sick. A sharp pain twisted in my chest. She frowned, biting her lip until it turned white, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears, filled with an unspoken grievance. My heart lurched. Could it be morning sickness? Anna. She pulled her hand away, and a single tear fell onto my hand, searing hot. I'm sorry, I pushed you. I apologize sincerely. Did you eat something bad? She paused, then nodded along with my suggestion. I swept her up into my arms, ignoring her gasp, and carried her upstairs. When I set her down inside the apartment, her eyes were still a little dazed, her gaze lowered, her cheeks flushed. She looked so gentle and sweet. I couldn't help myself. I leaned down and pressed a kiss on her dazed lips. She didn't push me away, but the hurt in her eyes was a weight on my chest. Her morning sickness got worse. At first, she tried to pass it off as an upset stomach. Then, she started avoiding me, trying to hide it. Even her parents and Ethan helped her cover it up. I held my tongue, fighting back the urge to confront her. I was afraid that if I did, she would get rid of the baby just to get rid of me. I was even more afraid she would think I only wanted her back because of the child. I couldn't risk it. Anna was busy lately. The only time I got to see her was when I brought her food. Under the lamplight, her profile was focused and solitary as she worked. The light softened her features, her small nose, her slightly pouting lips. I suddenly remembered how, when I used to bring work home, she would curl up in the rocking chair nearby, a pillow in her arms, watching me just like this. The difference was, she would often fall asleep. I would have to carry her to bed, and she would always take the opportunity to snuggle into my arms and refuse to let go. The thought sent a jolt through me. The past and present overlapped, and for a moment, I had the illusion that we were never divorced, that we had just switched places. In public, she was gentle and graceful. Only I had seen her wild, playful side. Those nights we spent tangled together were like a poison in my blood, ready to ignite at any moment. "What are you doing just standing there?" She looked up and noticed me. As she walked over to take the insulated container, her fingers brushed against mine. She frowned slightly. "What's wrong with you?" I didn't react at first, my voice a little hoarse. Her cool, delicate fingers touched my ear. Her eyes were pure. "It's really red here." I froze, the heat from my ear spreading rapidly. The purer her gaze, the more easily it ignited the fire in me. My throat felt scratchy. I cleared it. "It's nothing." She seemed to sense something and pulled her hand back, turning away with a blush. "It's late. You should go," she said softly. Her soft, sweet voice filled me with a secret joy. Clearly, she wasn't completely indifferent to me. "You're afraid of the dark. I'll wait for you," I replied earnestly. She pressed her lips together and turned back to her work. I watched her, our two shadows, one long, one short, occasionally overlapping under the spotlight. After a long moment, I heard her quiet response. "Suit yourself." With her tacit permission, bringing her food became my daily excuse to take her home. After she ate, she went back to work. I sat on the nearby sofa, my gaze resting on her. As I watched her, my thoughts drifted. The playful, shy eyes under those long lashes. I loved the way her eyes would focus on me, and only me, and those soft, moist lips. A simple taste would always make me want more, to drink in her sweetness. "Anna." She didn't look up. "Anna," I called again. She answered, then looked up with a hint of annoyance. "What?" I smiled unconsciously and walked towards her. "Isn't this nice? Why won't you remarry me? If you do, the Windsor family can help you with a lot of things. Your family situation will get much better. You won't have to work so hard." "You?" Noah's eyes darkened. "I don't find it hard. I feel fulfilled right now. Being your wife, maybe there's no financial pressure, but it's not easy. The Windsor Empire is yours, not mine. What if one day you don't want me anymore? Or what if you're not around anymore? What would I do?" My heart sank, remembering the vision of her empty eyes. "So, Noah," she looked me straight in the eye, "I want to be my own person. I don't want to depend on anyone, including you. Besides, maybe one day, I could be someone you can depend on." Her firm tone was laced with her familiar playfulness. The warmth seemed to flow back into my heart. Yes, that was Anna. The Anna who was different from everyone else. I shook my head almost imperceptibly, a smile tugging at my lips. "Okay, I'll wait for you. Till death do us part." The last part one swallowed back. She gave a small, shy smile, faint but bright. I stared at her face, illuminated by the lamplight, and a voice in my head whispered that just looking at her like this for the rest of my life wouldn't be so bad. I called off the arranged marriage and used my connections to have the traitor who fled the country brought back. I even secretly pulled some strings, feeding in a client resources and some of my own private projects. But I couldn't hide it from my family. My father was furious. "The Liu family is bankrupt. What value does a fallen heiress have for you or for Windsor Corp? You're not a match. Even if you remarry her now, you'll end up divorced again because of your different statuses. She's clinging to you now because she can't let go of the Windsor safety net." The conversation ended badly. What I didn't expect was that they would use a family dinner as a pretext to set me up with Scarlett Shun. When I walked into the private room and saw the elegant woman sitting there, I knew immediately. I turned to leave without a second thought. "Noah," my mother blocked my way, her voice pleading. "The Windsors have always kept their word. Since we agreed to consider an alliance with the Shuns, you at least have to meet her as a courtesy. If word gets out, people will say we're arrogant and ill-mannered. I know you still care about Anna, but we've always taught you to weigh the pros and cons before making a decision. The Lius are bankrupt. They have no value to you, to the company, or to our family. You should know who is the most suitable for you. Weigh the pros and cons." The words felt like a heavy chain. My knuckles tightened and relaxed. I glanced into the room. Just then, the door opened. "Sorry, am I late?" a delicate female voice asked. A tall figure in a lavender dress walked in. Her makeup was striking, especially her eyes, which were full of calculation. They merged with the venomous face from my vision. A chill ran down my spine. It was her, Scarlett Shun, the woman who, less than 6 months into our marriage, would cheat on me and conspire with her lover and her family to swallow Windsor Corporation. Our marriage was a setup from the very beginning. She walked in gracefully, her snake-like gaze landing on me. "Mr. Windsor, why are you looking at me like that?" Her voice was deliberately soft. "I wanted to visit you in the hospital, but you were already discharged. Are you feeling better?" Her words sounded considerate, but to me, they were like a poisoned blade scraping against my bones. "Scarlett Shun, the autumn air is getting a bit chilly," I said, a smirk on my lips. "Don't trouble yourself. My mother is the one meeting you today, not me. Enjoy your meal." I strode out, the door closing behind me. I messaged my assistant to make a move on the Shun Corporation. "Well, that was efficient, Mr. Windsor." A familiar, soft voice. I looked up sharply. It was Anna. She was standing a few feet away, her gaze sweeping over the slightly ajar door of the private room behind me. Muffled conversation could be heard from inside. A mocking smile touched her lips, her eyes filled with disappointment. "Begging me to remarry you last night, and already meeting the next candidate today. I guess it's for the best." She paused, her voice barely a whisper. "You've returned to the life you're supposed to have." Hearing that, my heart suddenly plunged into chaos. An immense panic washed over me. I strode forward and grabbed her hand, about to explain, when the cloying female voice came from the room. "Mr. Windsor can't have gone far. I'll go talk to him. It's our first meeting. He wouldn't be so rude as to completely ignore me, would he?" Footsteps approached the door. The image of her pushing Anna flashed in my mind, still terrifying. If she found out about Anna, she would definitely act sooner. "Anna, come with me." I grabbed her wrist and, without another word, pulled her into a utility closet at the end of the hall. The closet was cramped and dark, with only a small window letting in a sliver of light. I pressed one hand against the wall, my other arm still around her, trapping her in my embrace. The footsteps outside faded away. The tension subsided, leaving only my pounding heart and a familiar, stirring feeling. In the darkness, her sweet-scented breath was just inches away. "Noah." "Yes." She started to speak, her voice a breathless whisper, but I covered her mouth with my hand. Her soft, delicate lips were right against my palm. My heart was beating so fast, I thought it would burst out of my chest. She seemed to freeze in surprise, her lips slightly parted, her warm breath fanning against my hand. An uncontrollable heat shot through me. I leaned in closer, our breaths mingling. I could feel her frantic heartbeat, her tense body. "Noah," she hissed, her voice raspy in a way I loved, yet laced with frustration. "What are you doing?" My own breathing was ragged, my breath hot against her sensitive ear. "I want to kiss you," I whispered. "Can I?" Her body went rigid. Her beautiful eyes widened in a mix of shock and shy panic. "You're so shameless even after the divorce. Look where we are." Her voice was a hushed, flustered whisper, like a kitten with its fur on end, which only made her more endearing, more irresistible. I smirked and pulled back slightly, my eyes fixed on her lips. "So, if we were somewhere else, it would be okay?" Her already flushed cheeks turned a deep crimson. She frantically covered my mouth with both hands. Her small, delicate palms were as soft and warm as the rest of her. Our eyes met. In that moment, the world inside and outside the closet fell silent. All I could hear was the sound of our breathing intertwined. After a long moment, she bit her lip and spoke, her words carefully chosen. "I need an explanation. Who is she? Why were you hiding?" Her voice was a barely audible whisper in the small space. I looked down at her pale, lovely face, so close to mine. The suffocating images of my death flooded back. Should I tell her? What if she doesn't believe me? What if she misunderstands even more? But if I couldn't even be honest with her about this, how could I expect her to believe we had a future? I took a deep breath, my throat tight. I saw some things. The Shun Alliance, they have other motives. If I get close to her, I'll die. And even you, and RCH. Bang! Just as the word child was about to escape my lips, the unlocked door of the utility closet was thrown open. The handle hit the wall with a loud thud. Blinding light flooded in. Anna and I turned in shock. Standing in the doorway, under the harsh light, was my mother, her face a mask of fury and disappointment. She didn't raise a hand. Instead, she looked at Anna with condemnation, her voice sharp. "Miss Liu, do you have any idea what you're doing? You were the one who initiated the divorce. You were the one who rejected him time and time again. You said it yourself, that you weren't good enough for our family. You told me you knew your place, that you had your pride. So what are you doing now? Seducing my son? Making him unable to let you go? Does it make you feel proud? Watching him chase after you like this?" I ignored my mother's protests and pulled Anna away. My mother's words were like daggers. On the way back to her apartment, Anna was silent, the light in her eyes growing dimmer and colder. I started to feel helpless. At her door, I pulled her into a tight embrace. She didn't resist, didn't struggle. She just let me hold her, limp and unresponsive, until I let go. I was truly scared. Scared that my mother's accusations had wounded her so deeply she would give up completely. Scared she wouldn't believe what I told her in the closet. Scared she would think it was all some crazy story, some manipulative game. I was in a panic. And then, for days, I couldn't find her. Not at her apartment, not at her office. Her mother said she was on a business trip. But why wouldn't she tell me? Why wasn't she answering my messages? Maybe she didn't believe me at all. Everything I had done was for nothing. With my parents' tacit approval, Scarlett made herself at home in my house. She sat at the dining table and placed a piece of meat on my plate. Without a second thought, I threw the plate and the meat into the trash. She suppressed her anger. "Noah doesn't like this dish. I'll remember that. Is it okay if I call you Noah?" "No, it's not." I leaned forward, my hands on the table, my eyes cold. "Miss Shun, you are trespassing. I'll overlook it this time, out of respect for the business between our families. If it happens again, I'll call security." She shot up from her chair, her eyes wide with disbelief, her finger pointing at me accusingly. "Noah, how could you treat me like this? I'm your fiancée-to-be. I told you, I have no intention of marrying into the Shin family," I said with a sneer, signaling for security to drag her out. "If you can't understand plain English, then you have no business being here." When the security guards appeared, her pretense shattered. As they dragged her out, she struggled like a cornered animal, screaming, "If you don't marry me, who will you marry? That bankrupt nobody from the Liu family? Is a fallen heiress really worth all this? So what if you can't live without her? She's already got her childhood sweetheart protecting her. She doesn't want you anymore." Her words trailed off as I shot to my feet. "Whether I can live without her is my business." My voice stopped abruptly. I was stunned. Even I couldn't believe it. I shouldn't have even wasted my breath explaining myself to someone like her. Yet the words had just tumbled out. What did I just say? That I couldn't live without Anna. In that instant, something exploded in my mind. All the details I had suppressed came rushing back. The way she looked when she fell asleep at her desk, her focused, silent gaze, her playful, pouting complaints, her warmth, her shyness, her strength and stubbornness, even the concern hidden beneath her deliberate distance. That was it. If I didn't care, I wouldn't remember so many things about her. A single look, a subtle expression, a word, a faint trace of her warmth, they all pulled at my every nerve. Was I really trying to remarry her just because of those visions? It was only then that I realized the deeper reason was instinct. My instinct was to be with her. A searing heat erupted from my chest, spreading through my limbs, bringing with it a wave of exhilarating clarity. So that was it. That was what it was. I had to find her right now. I felt a sense of purpose I had never felt before, a joyful certainty. I had to tell her that I wanted her back, not as a calculation, not as a strategic move, but because it was what my heart truly wanted. I drove towards her apartment. The rain started suddenly, a torrential downpour. I pulled over and ran through the rain to the shelter of the building's entrance. Just then, a couple sharing an umbrella walked by. I recognized the soft, sweet voice and the warm male voice. "You take it," I can just grab a cab from here. No way. You brought this umbrella for me because you were worried I'd get wet. I can't just leave you in the rain. It's different. You're pregnant now. I have to be a responsible godfather to the baby in your belly. Ethan's words hit me like a lightning bolt. Godfather? For whose baby? For my baby? The thought was like an ice pick stabbing into my hopeful heart. I just had a minor procedure. It's fine. I'm a big boy. I can handle a little rain. I'll just take a hot shower when I get home. The sound of their footsteps splashing through puddles mixed with their words. I was frozen to the spot. Anna and Ethan's conversation drilled into my ears. Had she been with him all this time she was avoiding me? Was her business trip just an excuse to take care of him? A procedure? For a moment, my mind went blank. The chilling fear from my visions was replaced by an overwhelming sense of despair and betrayal. The world around me went silent, as if all sound had been sucked away, leaving me utterly alone. I leaned against the red brick pillar, feeling weak. The rain soaked my pants, the cold seeping into my bones. My wet hair dripped onto my forehead, each drop a reminder of how foolish I had been, rushing here with such naive excitement. Suddenly, a flash of a light blue dress entered my vision. The soft voice that had just pierced my heart now sounded concerned. You're soaked. It was Anna, her voice tight with worry. I didn't look up. I didn't want her to see the pathetic, defeated look on my face. It would only make me feel more like a fool. She had already found a new father for our child, a man to take my place. So what did that make me? A fair, slender hand reached for me, but I turned away. Don't touch me, I snapped, looking at her. Her hand froze in midair, her eyes filled with hurt and confusion. Noah, what's wrong? What? I clenched my fists, the veins on my hands bulging. My voice was hoarse. You've been with Ethan Chin these past few days, haven't you? You. I cut myself off, my heart twisting. You don't want to remarry me, not because you're angry with me, not because your family is bankrupt, right? I thought you were avoiding me because you were hurt. But that's not it, is it? You just got divorced, and Ethan is already by your side. And I was foolish enough to think there was nothing between you. I must have been a real nuisance, chasing after you all this time. Don't worry, I won't bother you again. I blurted it all out, my head down, and turned to walk into the rain. I had only taken half a step when a soft, suppressed sob stopped me in my tracks. What are you crying for? I couldn't bring myself to turn around. Isn't this what you wanted? For us to go our separate ways. She was crying, her eyes red. My question only made the tears fall faster. I couldn't help but reach out to wipe them away, but she slapped my hand away, just as I had done to her. You told me not to touch you, so why are you touching me? She said, her voice choked with tears, her lips pouting. You said all that just to tell me you regret trying to get me back, didn't you? You just want to say your piece and run away. You can't have it that easy. She was sobbing, her nose red, like a wounded fawn. I don't regret it, I said, the words escaping me before I could think. She sniffled and stepped closer, shoving her canvas bag into my hands. Her small, fair hand pulled out a phone with a shattered screen. My phone broke. I couldn't get a signal, she said, her voice thick with congestion and a world of hurt. The company arranged a team-building trip. I sent you a message on iMessage before I left to let you know. I even share my location with you. Didn't you see it? I tried calling you and sending messages from a colleague's phone. You never answered. The harsh white light of the screen stung my eyes. I opened iMessage. There they were, the messages she had tried to send over the past few days, a string of red exclamation marks next to them, and the location sharing notification from the day she left. My heart sank. I checked our chat history countless times. How could I have missed it? My phone, a fuzzy memory surfaced. My mother had borrowed my phone that day. Could she have? I frowned and looked up, meeting Anna's tear-filled, accusing eyes. My heart ached. I am sorry. I thought. You thought. It's always what you think. Why couldn't you just ask me before you started talking about regrets? She was so angry she started hitting my chest. I let her, carefully shielding her body from her own flailing fists. What about what you and Ethan were saying just now? I asked, my voice low, studying her face, not wanting to miss a single expression. He said he was going to be a father to the baby in your belly. What did he mean? Her face paled, her eyes wide with panic. You heard that? He was just joking. We agreed he would be the baby's godfather, that's all. And he didn't come back for my family. It was just a coincidence. He's helping out because we're old friends. I think he's probably trying to get away from someone back home. She stressed the last part, her voice filled with the frustration of being misunderstood. There's nothing between us. I was stunned again. Just the godfather. How could I have jumped to such a conclusion? There was nothing between them. He wasn't trying to replace me. She wasn't avoiding me to be with him. She wasn't taking care of him after a procedure. Her phone was just broken. What had I been torturing myself over all this time? I was so angry at my own stupidity that I let out a bitter laugh. I looked at her small, upturned face, her eyelashes wet with tears, and my heart melted. I reached out and pulled her into my arms. Back in the apartment, her parents weren't home. The place was quiet. You should take a hot shower, she said, handing me a set of navy blue silk pajamas. Her ears were slightly red, her eyes still holding a trace of shyness. They were my pajamas. She had taken my clothes with her when she moved out of the mansion. Staring at the pajamas, I slowly came to my senses. Since she came back from her trip, she didn't seem to be deliberately pushing me away anymore. She was playful, she cried, she even hit me. She was worried about me getting sick from the rain. Did this change mean she was ready to remarry me? I smiled to myself. When I came out of the shower, she was in the kitchen. I made a bowl of hot ginger soup and was cooling it with a small fan when she walked in, drying her hair with a towel. Drink this, just in case. I handed her the bowl. She glanced at the soup, then at me, a look of curiosity and suspicion in her eyes. Why did you make ginger soup? There's cold medicine right there. I didn't answer, just watched her take a few sips before taking the bowl back. I set it down and took a step closer, my voice filled with a desperate resolve. Anna, remarry me. Her face clouded over, her brow furrowed as she bit her lip. Why, Noah? I think things are fine the way they are. We don't have to get married again. Besides, your parents would never agree, and my parents wouldn't be happy about it either. We're not a match. Maybe not. There's no maybe. I cut her off, my voice firm. In this world, we are the perfect match. But no buts. We were locked in a silent battle of wills, our eyes clashing in the air. Unless, I stared into her eyes, my own gaze dark and intense. You're planning on finding a new father for our child. The words hung in the dead silence. Her pupils contracted, her face a mask of shock. She stared at me, her breath catching in her throat, her lower lip bitten white. How did you know? Her voice was a trembling whisper of disbelief. I slowly knelt down, my hand reaching out to gently touch her stomach, a gesture of pure reverence. Through the thin fabric of her dress, I could feel the slight curve. I know you've been to the doctor. I know about the appointments, the blood tests. I know everything, Anna. You don't have to remarry me. That's fine. But please, don't replace me. Don't try to find someone else to take my place, okay? I looked up at her. A tear fell on my hand, hot and searing. When did you know? She asked, her head bowed, her eyes brimming with tears, her voice choked with a mix of endless grievance and panic. My heart ached for her. I stood up and cupped her face in my hands, kissing her deeply, until she went limp in my arms, sobbing. Noah, I don't understand, she choked out, her voice full of a deep-seated insecurity. What do you get out of remarrying me? It was only then that I truly understood. Her resistance wasn't just about her family's bankruptcy. It was because when she had asked for a divorce, I hadn't chosen her, not unequivocally. I had weighed her and our marriage like a business deal. I held her face in my hands, as if she were a precious jewel. Anna, listen to me, I said, my voice firm and unwavering. I want you. I'm not after anything else. I just want you. It has nothing to do with pros and cons, with our families, with anyone else. All I want is you. I repeated it again and again, afraid she wouldn't understand. Her shimmering, tear-filled eyes turned red again.